The Warriors stayed alive Monday night with a crucial victory. Now, Game 6 tips tomorrow. Rob Parker joining us today.
What's happening? Good morning. Good morning, Shannon. What's up?
Curious what chance
What's
you
up,
give
Rob?
the
How you doing,
Warriors
bro?
to win this series, Rob.
I give them a 0% chance of winning.
Warriors 0%.
0.
All right.
And here's the reason why. As I said before this all started, Skip and Shannon, no KD, no title. And it stays the same. And everybody goes, well, they're going to go back home and they'll force a game 7 and blah, 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 blah. Let's just take a look at how they've done at home. They're 3-0, and I'm talking about Toronto playing at Oracle this year. 1 regular season, 2 postseason wins. Also, there was a chance when, in the first round, when Golden State was playing the Clippers to close them out in a Game 5. They lost, gave up 129 points on their home court.
They lost twice to the Clippers.
And lost twice there.
Yep.
Here's the other thing. It's not only no KD, no Looney, Andre Iguodala is banged up. I mean, when you start to look at really where they are, there's just a lot of things going on there. And even the game that they just won, the Game 5, they made 12 more three-pointers than Toronto and won by 1 point. It took everything that they had just to be able to win that game. I get Steph. I get Clay. Biggest game of this series was Game 4 when they needed Steph to turn in another Herculean performance after he did in Game 3 with the 47 points. He didn't show up in that game. He didn't play nearly as well, and that Game 4 loss is really the reason why they're in this situation. Because had they won that, they would be in a situation where they still could have won this thing. And even though KD gave them a shot in the arm, maybe some inspiration, I'm not buying that it's enough. If this team was in full strength or whatever, there'd be no question. And one last thing, think about it. This thing should be over. Toronto, if you honestly look at the 5 games, should have won all 5. Golden State had an 18-0 run in the third quarter. If you just stem that a little bit, score a couple of baskets, they don't win that game. And in this game, Kawhi it's going crazy, right? Scores 10 points. They call a timeout, stop the momentum, and then they go away from Kawhi at the end of the game, and you let Lowry take the game-winning shot to win a championship.
Are you sure he didn't go away at the end of the game? Because he looked like he went south.
All I know is I didn't see him put up any shots, and it seemed like other guys were taking.
Why didn't he go demand
I just don't believe this is going to happen. My original pick was Toronto in 6. I'm sticking with it.
Oh, you weren't one of those Raptor fans who stood and applauded when KD went down.
No, of course not. But you know what? Fans are a little fickle in the beginning, and then they realize the seriousness of it. And I think that's when
it's true.
They did cheer him as he walked.
Okay. Shannon Sharpe, pile on.
You changed your pick,
I'm not
right?
on Skip. No, I did. But that's neither here nor there. That was not what the question was about, whether or not I changed my pick. Skip, look, the Golden State Warriors have an excellent chance of winning this series. I'm going to say excellent. I'll give them you know what? I'll give them a slightly better than 0 than what Rob gave them. I'll say they have between a 7 and 10% chance. Because here's the thing. If they can win Game 6, get it back to a Game 7, and the thing that you want to happen in a Game 7 is what? You want to get to the 4th quarter, either tied or close enough that they can see you in their rear view. Because that's what the Cavaliers did to Golden State, Skip. They won Game 5, they went back home, won Game 6, and when the 4th quarter started, they were right there. And so, man, we had a 3-1 lead. The longest, Skip, here's the thing. Also, when you get an opportunity to step on someone's neck, especially in the sports analogies, you do it because you are a turned ankle or something bad happening to your star player, then all of a sudden the momentum. Because we know if Kawhi goes out for any extended, if Kawhi misses a quarter, the series is over. Because they're going to win and they're going to get that rejuvenation that we can do this. But Kawhi, sure enough, that old corn-rolled monster gonna put a stop to this tomorrow night, Skip Bayless.
Really?
So I don't want you to go get your hopes up real high. Think you're gonna come in here and gloat on Friday? Cause you're not.
That's interesting. You're still talking about the same number 2 who down the stretch of Game 2, the final 8 minutes, he just disappeared. And the final 3 minutes and 28 seconds of Game 5 the other night in his new house, He disappeared. That should have been his game. He had it in the palm of his gigantic hand, right?
Yes.
And go look at what he didn't do, because he didn't do much. Game 2, that was in his house. Game 5 in his house. Sorry, no. So now we come back to your points, and you made all correct points. But here's what's happening. The deeper you get, you know this well from your days covering Pistons in the finals, the deeper you get into a finals series, the smaller the basket will look to the Toronto Raptors. This is a 3-point shooting series. The team that makes the most threes has won all 5 of the first games, right? You can just go back and trace it. Okay, Golden State, more threes in 2 and 5, and they won those games. To your point, 20-8 in threes in Game 5. So it's up to the Raptors to outshoot Golden State from the three-point line at Oracle as the basket looks smaller and smaller as the stakes go higher and higher in closeout games. Closeouts are hard. You know it, and I know it, and Golden State really knows it because they're really good at closeout games. So now they get a final game at Oracle because they know for certain this is it. This is the last game at Oracle because the other night they weren't sure. Now they know they got a shot. This is the grand finale, and they also know that there's no more waiting for Godot, as in KD, because he's gone now. And for the first time all playoff long, it's over. There's no maybe, maybe not, maybe, maybe not. No KD, and you say no way. No way, no how.
Exactly.
And I say clear the decks, and there's a great way because it's all about Klay and Steph in that order. I trust Klay and Steph in that order, and I predicted Klay was going to be the MVP of the finals, and he is right on track. He will come up a little bigger than Steph. And I have been mostly disappointed in Steph until the other night when in the second half, after he'd gone 1 for 8 from 3 all the way down to the last stage of the game, he made the biggest three-point shot of his playoff life when he just stepped right into that 3 that tied the game. Then who won it? Klay Thompson won it. Those two in the order, Klay and Steph, will win this game by making more threes. But the final point, go ahead. Do you want to make one?
Yeah, I just want, the only thing is when you talk about those guys, and Steph especially, is the author of that 3-1 collapse.
True.
And they lost Game 7 at Oracle.
They sure did.
So I'm just saying, they have a history. It's not like the shutdown place where you can't go and get a big win on the road. That's what bothers me, and it would be only fitting that they also would get closed out there.
Okay, but
because that's what usually happens when a juggernaut or a championship caliber team, you know, that's had a dynasty going, usually the wheels fall off or something happens. I could easily see them losing by 10 points and losing that game at home, and that'll be the end of not only Oracle, but the end of the Warriors, their run, and they return back to being a really good team that's in the mix, but not a guarantee.
Okay, but I remind you, in 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers had a true closer in Kyrie Irving. Not LeBron James, Kyrie Irving. And he closed that deal by making the shot of shots in Game 7 at Oracle. Toronto does not have a true closer because number 2 is not that guy. Trust me.
Yes, they do.
Nope.
Yes,
nope.
he is. He is that guy.
And
Maybe Van Vliet is. Maybe. That's who should have taken the last shot.
Also, Lowry plays a lot better on the road for whatever reason.
He does.
He
I
does.
give you that.
And the other thing is, I just think Kawhi's not, the stage, Shannon, is not going to be too big for him because he's played in the NBA Finals. He was the Finals MVP. If this was a young team.
It was an afterthought for that team.
But if you go look at all the other guys on that team, they've been around, they've done that, they've been in big games. If this was a young team, like when Portland finally got on the big stage, remember? They couldn't handle it. This is not Portland. Toronto has been, they're 6-4 on the road during the postseason. That's an impressive record to win on the road in the playoffs.
Okay, I got one more point to throw at both of you. Golden State has yet to play a clean basketball game. The dynastic Warriors have played ugly, sloppy basketball in all 5 games, and it cost them 3, and they won in spite of themselves, especially the other night in Game 5. So they are 18 more turnovers so far. They've committed 18 more turnovers than Toronto has. Toronto has made 16 more free throws than Golden State has. So those two stats tell you it's about focus and desire. I think Toronto has played harder every game because they're attacking more. They're getting to the free throw line a lot more than Golden State is. Plus, Golden State's just throwing the ball all over the lot, bouncing it in the stands. And remember, down the stretch the other night, Golden State committed two blunders that should have cost them the game. Draymond steps across half court, and then DeMarcus Cousins has a moving pick foul. What are you doing? And they still won that game.
But Skip, the thing is that when you're a jump shooting team, when you're a three-point shooting team, you're probably going to lose the free throw battle because you're shooting the basketball from distance and you're not driving it. Toronto with Siakam and Ibaka, Van Fleet, Kyle Lowry, and Kawhi, they're putting the ball on the floor. They're trying to get to the rim. They'll dive and kick. Yep. But these guys, that's not what. So are you putting it? So now all of a sudden you seem like you have a lot more faith in old Steph. Now we know they're loose with the basketball, Skip. They're very loose with the basketball. So I'm not surprised that they have more turnovers than the Raptors because we've seen this. They haven't really been clean with the basketball in any of the series. They get loose. They let teams back in the ball game because they get careless with the basketball. But don't worry about it. Oh, Kawhi, he's been waiting for this moment for a long time to step out of Tim Duncan's shadow, to step out of the Spurs. It's the system. Oh, without Pop, what can he do without Pop? He's one of these old LeBron James, Kevin Durant. Yes, I can play within a system, but I'm a system unto myself.
The guy who turned down the last shot the other night. Way to go. Yeah, I trust him.
I bet he won't turn this one down. I bet he won't turn this one down Thursday night.
Philadelphia?
Yeah, and it bounced 4 times.
Did it go in?
Was it lucky? Was it lucky, Rob Parker? Yes, it was.
Tom Brady's lucky.
He is
All
not.
right, gentlemen, we got to leave it here. Hard for me to believe that Golden State would lose all 3 home games in the finals, but we will find out.
Go lose all 3 of them, Jen.
All 3. That's what happens when a dynasty's wheels fall off.
Thank you so much for being here.
Or not.
We really appreciate it, as always.
Thanks, Jen.
Coming up next, did the Warriors make a mistake playing KD the other night? We'll discuss that up next.